12:01. 12:01 is not bad considering all that was happening right before this. So GM folks, very excited for today's show. We got to do all our little notifications, let people know we're live. If you're watching, wherever you're watching, share, let people know we're live now. Very, very excited for today's show. We're going to have Rish on at 12:30, so about 30 minutes. So that's going to be a great chat. This is going to be the first time he's chatting about the new takeover of Farcaster by Neynar. We'll lead you all along and let you know exactly what that means before he even gets here. And I'm just super, super excited about everything that's going on. We have lots to chat about. Adrian, how are you doing today? Excited?
So excited.
So excited. So excited.
So excited.
I don't know if I believe her. I don't know if I believe her.
It's so funny. A few weeks ago, we were like, we really need to get Rish on to talk about building mini apps using the AI mini app builder. And we had him on Friday. We had him scheduled for today. And
we've got it scheduled for a couple of weeks.
We did not know that we'd be talking about something else.
No idea. So we've had him scheduled for weeks. And my biggest concern the other day when the news dropped was like, is he still coming? Like, I hope he's still coming. So he is, and I'm very excited. So let's dive in to all the things. First thing we're going to do is our little intro. But before that, I want to do a quick shout out. We did do an auction for this show. It did hit a new record number. So I want to shout out the Lotry team. So today's show is going to be presented by Lotry.fun. And let's do our little intro, and we'll be back on the other side of this 41 seconds. Welcome to GM Farcaster, bringing you everything from breaking news to spicy memes to the deep lore shaping this vibrant digital community. More than just a show, GM Farcaster is your digital third space where the community connects, the stories unfold, and the culture thrives. Whether you're a daily caster or just dropping by, we've got the latest buzz to keep you plugged in. So grab your coffee and let's dive in with your hosts, Neynar Prof and Adrian, for another episode of GM Farcaster. GM Farcaster. I'm getting a little bit of lag, but hopefully okay. It is Friday. Happy Friday, January 23rd, and you are here with Neynar Prof and Adrian for 21 minutes of Farcaster news to start your day, and then we are going to have Rish coming by to chat about the new acquisition. Neynar has acquired Farcaster, and super excited to chat about that. So let's actually start there. We had we did some breaking news on Wednesday when this dropped, and thank you to the gracious Cassie who understood why I had to interrupt her, and I felt bad, but it was like we're in the middle of an interview and I'm like, wait a minute, I really thought the chat was trolling us. Like I didn't believe them, so I'm like I need to go look right now and see if Dan actually said this, and he did. So this is what he said.
We have to break news.
We have to break news on it. Come on. I know. We had to do it. I couldn't not do it. But here's what he said. Neynar is acquiring Farcaster. Over the next few weeks, we'll transfer ownership of the protocol contracts and code repositories, the Farcaster app, and Clanker to Neynar. They will run and maintain everything going forward. Some members of the Merkle team, Varun and I, will step back from day-to-day work on Farcaster and move on to something new. Rish, Manan, and the rest of the Neynar team have been building on Farcaster from the start. Neynar was one of the first Farcaster clients, and its infrastructure now powers much of the developer ecosystem. We think they are the right people to take over leadership of Farcaster, and they'll share their new builder-focused vision soon. This wasn't an easy decision. Farcaster and the people building on it mean a lot to us. We're proud of what our team built and what the community built alongside us, but after 5 years, it's clear Farcaster needs a new approach and leadership to reach its full potential. We're excited to see what Farcaster becomes under Neynar, and we're looking forward to this next chapter. Varun and Dan. All right, so we had that. I would say the response on Farcaster was generally twofold. One was a little bit of sadness because change. And then there was this like excitement, like definite excitement, definite like, this is good. That's because the folks on Farcaster know Neynar, they know Rish, they know what it means, all those things. So very excited personally. Like my immediate response was, this feels like the best possible outcome. We knew the signs were there that there was a acquisition coming. We just didn't know who was acquiring, what was going on, what it was going to look like. So there was a lot of different ways this could have gone. And to me, in terms of like for the builders and for those who have been building on top of Farcaster for 3+ years, this was the best case scenario by far. So very excited that this is the direction. So Adrienne, your thoughts? You were a little more cautious.
It feels like I agree with everything you've said. And what I mostly love is how positive the reaction was. Not positive like, yay, we're not happy to see Merkel move on. And I think Dan and Varun and the Merkel team have just earned so much respect from the people who are on Farcaster.
For the people who actually know what's going on.
Yes. And I know it hasn't been, I mean, like it can't have been easy for them. Like, you know, they're working, like what they put into Farcaster. So it can't have been easy. And because I know how I feel, like we have feelings and we are a little bit further removed. So I think it was nice just to see collective kind of respect to the Merkel team. And then overall, Rish, Manan, Neynar as a team are so beloved and respected as well. So it was generally a very wholesome reaction, and it makes me happy. And it does feel like the best possible in terms of like giving it to the community, as much as Neynar is not really owned by the community, but it does feel, it feels nice.
It's really focused. It feels builder focused. And we'll get into that more with Rish at the 12:30 mark. But yeah, I feel the same way. It feels like this was the best outcome. I started to think, especially after the Lens news dropped, I'm like, you know what? That makes a lot of sense if they just spun it off. If they were going to do something completely different or move to somewhere else that maybe Farcaster didn't exactly fit, then it would make sense to kind of spin that off separately to someone else. And this, to me, seems like the best case scenario for that particular approach. By the way, I loved this. This was so cute. A-Town did this. So this is the Neynar team. And the funniest part is, so that's Rish and Manan, and I think that's A-Town. And then you've got Grin, the wizard. Like, it's like they're playing Risk or something. I don't know.
They're building a world. They're world building.
They're world building. But Rish in there as the wizard just cracked me up. I mean, not Rish, Grin. So very funny. And then there were some other fun little takes like this from Miguel Garest. Of course, we love your animation. So this was fun. This is the Farcaster arch and the Neynar little Saturn thing, little satellite. Some nice, comments from some folks like Jesse. I love Farcaster and will be forever grateful to DWR&V for building it. So much of what makes base what it is comes from here, and I expect that to continue. The world is deeply better because Farcaster exists. So not only if you don't know, like base found its first, really big users in a lot of its team on Farcaster. I mean, there's a lot of people who were just building, not necessarily on Merkle, like they weren't working for Merkle, but they were just building on Farcaster and ended up, over on base. So there's a lot of synergy there. This from Balaji. Dan and Varun in the team built something amazing and useful. Farcaster is by far the best open social protocol around. I want to see the Farcaster protocol grow in Rish and Neynar's hands. Sometimes protocols take a little while to incubate. The silver lining to this transition could be that the Farcaster protocol will become even more decentralized, and I could see that for sure happening. I will talk to Neynar and figure out how best to continue supporting Farcaster builders. There is still amazing potential in this mature and functional protocol, especially with the rise of Claude Code. I feel people could build 10 demos a day to show what's possible, and one of them could take off. And literally, that's already happening, Balaji. We're calling it the Neynar App Studio. Come check it out. Literally, that's what's happening. And that's the other thing that I think a lot of people miss, is that this is the best place to build by far. Like if you want, your first 100, your first 1,000, your first 10,000 users, like if it's really good, you'll find them here before you move out into a larger audience. They'll give you constructive, useful feedback. You'll, get load testing. We've seen it happen over and over again. And
for 2 reasons, 3 reasons, 4, 2, 1, right?
A lot of reasons.
So
how many reasons?
I have 2. No, but you get your users because you get distribution in the feed. Like you can build a mini app and you can share it and everyone can use it. But the other piece is because the people who are here want to use it.
Right. Yes.
It's like they're people who want to be early adopters and give feedback. So you're more likely. So it's like the ability to share. You're more likely to have an audience that wants to see what you're doing. And then the other piece is it's unruggable. Yeah. So it's not building an API, you're not building on an API that someone can later pull a la Farmville, but you can,
right.
But it's kind of
not Farmville
because
Farmville.
It's farm.
Yeah.
Did I get that right? Yeah. Yeah, not
no,
the money.
I'm just clarifying because some
Facebook.
people on Farcaster might think you're talking about, builders gardens, farms.
But building, because you're building on an open protocol, social, so you have a little bit of that guarantee of
So for those who build, cool things, you will find an audience. So not dead yet. And also there's been a lot of chatter about decentralized social. This was from Fred Wilson, who's also an investor in Neynar and Farcaster, I believe. Hi, casters. I wrote about decentralized social today in the wake of 2 protocol handovers and an excellent post on this topic by Vitalik. So I'd recommend you go take a look at that. Give that a look-see. And then we had this from Linda. So this was probably my saddest moment. But also I'm excited to see what she's going to do next. I'm really grateful to have had the opportunity to work with DWRMV and the entire team on Farcaster. They have been extraordinary teammates to build with and learn from. It's no small feat. They spent 5 years building decentralized social, not the easiest path in crypto, and I'm proud to have spent my time supporting them on it. I care deeply about the mission of decentralized social, and I strongly believe Farcaster is the best possible hands with Rish and Manan and the Neynar team going forward. I'm particularly excited about the builder-focused ecosystem after Daniel and I built Bountycaster before joining the Farcaster team, and Neynar was nothing but exceptional partners to work with. Thank you to all the builders and community members who have made Farcaster such a special place. I've always been in awe of the concentration of talent and genuinely kind people. I'll be doing my own separate thing next, but I'll remain a Farcaster community member. I'm truly optimistic about Neynar bringing Farcaster into the next phase. I thought that was a great post from Linda. And then we had like the Farcaster fun stuff start happening, like Farcaster changed my life over and over again. Many people. And mine was technically Farcon the beta, but yeah, related. And I loved seeing that. So that was a fun little quote thread going on. Then you had this from DeWoofy. There's a part of me that really hopes Dan is finally taking one of these great opportunities to build a new client. I don't think so. And also, yeah, I was hearing that he was really joking about a whole bunch of different things, and it's been really fun to see. This was great from Brad Q, kind of summarizing what Derek and TLDR had to say. FC is the most successful subreddit of all time. Sometimes subreddits change the world. See Wall Street Bets. So contacts we were talking Tuesday during SOFA community call about mental models to think about FC. Is it a new frontier? Is it more like early Google style workplace? Both were not received as satisfactory on the call. And all illustrations, metaphors break down. But I like the modernization of the most successful subreddit of all time as the mental model to consider for FC. So, and I've always thought of it as an incubator. Like it feels like an incubator to me. It feels like it just feels it has that vibe or it had early days for sure. Over the past, I don't know, maybe 9 months, it has felt less like that. But it's still there. It's still definitely there. So, and speaking of, this is from Lamone. I'm feeling that energy again, the same energy that fueled me over the past years. For me, Farcaster has always been about the people, about techno-optimism, about social Lego blocks we can't stop playing with. The past weeks and months have been hard. It felt like I wasn't the only one who lost that energy. A lot of my friends did too. And I think the founders may have as well a little bit. And now they're back. Back in the summer of 2025, we made that bet, taking the risk and proposing Rome as the place for the next FarCon. I was excited and afraid at the same time. Excited because I'd get to bring my internet friends to my hometown. Afraid because I knew it was going to be hard. Still, we started envisioning it, working on website, tickets, venue, slowly putting the pieces together. At some point, for reasons beyond our control, sentiment around Farcaster went down and FarCon felt the impact too, but we kept going. I won't lie. Over time, I started losing conviction. I started asking myself what the point was. I stopped casting about it. I stopped casting at all. Yesterday's news felt like a breath of fresh air, a reset, a beginning. Builders are finally back at center stage. The reason why I proposed myself and ETH for FarCon has always been simple. We're builders at heart. We love hacking and experimenting. We don't care about trading or speculation. We care about making things. The vision Rish shared yesterday is deeply aligned with that. We've always wanted FarCon to be a place for makers to come together, strengthen their bonds, and keep experimenting together. Many of you asked if FarCon Rome is still happening. Yes, it is, now more than ever. I want to set the stage for us to come together, IRL, to talk, argue, learn, grow, create, and build like we've always done. In the next days, I'll share the concrete plan. You can expect real builder energy, expect a hackathon, expect showcases, expect spaces and activations that give voice to everyone, contributing to Farcaster, builders, creators, makers, founders, and communities. See you in Rome. Nice. I really loved this cast as well. I saw some comments come up and I think it's, I'm sorry, Bert, it's really far.
It's not, really, really far. It's not far. It's very close. Bert, if you need someone to come put you in a little carrier, I'm your woman. Just DM me.
We'd love to have you there, Bert. Yeah. So I felt all the things he just said. I was feeling the same. I was feeling the same things. I wasn't feeling as excited. We decided, which we haven't even announced this yet, but we kind of talked about it a little bit. I was kind of afraid to say it, but we're not going to be at ETH Denver this year. We decided not to do that and put the effort and resources towards that because we weren't feeling like a lot of people were going to be there. We just weren't feeling the energy. And I was afraid to say that while everything was unknown because I thought people were going to take it the wrong way. So I feel more comfortable saying that now. Like it had nothing to do with what we were doing. It just wasn't feeling like a good fit. But I feel like now I'm excited. I was looking at flights today for Rome again. So, and going, damn, they're expensive. So if somebody could make number go up as well, that'd be freaking great. And then we had some crazy posts. I mean, that was nice. But then we got this from Kojo, who hasn't casted and, hasn't been very actively casting. We got feet. I don't know. It just felt right today. Those are toe spacers. If you know, you know. Then we had this from yesterday.
We need content warnings. You can't just throw Kojo's hairy legs and feet on.
I mean, welcome to
Still better than a tongue scraper. Still better than a tongue scraper.
Sometimes we talk about toe spacers. What do you want me? What do you want from me? It's not I didn't do it. This from yesterday crypto. A person I have known for more than 10 years who I consider trustworthy is convinced Farcaster will shortly experience an explosion of fun. I don't know anything concrete, but if I were exposed, I would be excited. This is a famous copy pasta and has been adapted for Farcaster, and I kind of loved it. And then we started to see this going around the timeline. I'm going to get to the other stuff in just a second. You know I am, if you're wondering. That I pledged to help make Farcaster a fun place. Can you pledge that you will help Farcaster remain fun? And my personal opinion was like, it feels like a big commitment. I don't know if I can commit to that. I've only been doing it for 300 and no, 333 episodes, and I'm not sure if I can continue. No, I'm just kidding.
Patron responsive. Get Manon on. Get Manon on the stream.
I know.
All right.
What was that? So anyway, that was really funny. And then this pledge thing popped up, created with Neynar App Studio, the Farcaster Pledge, where you can pledge that you are going to bring fun to the timeline. So there you go. Adrian, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Have you taken the pledge?
No.
Neither have I. And I think there's something about that I am just blocked on, and it is nothing. It's really fun. I love it. Super cute. Glad you built it, Shara. But I have something in my Gen X bones that just saw that and immediately went, I'm not doing, like, I don't know what it was, but it was really funny. And I was really curious if you did the same, if you had that same, like, I'm not doing that.
We love you.
We love you, Shara. Love it. I seriously love it. I think it's great. I'm glad you did it. Really glad you created it. So I just have a weird thing about.
Do you feel differently about manifestos than you do about pledges?
No, they're about the same.
Right. So when Vitalik did the pre-DevCon, there was the manifesto, and everyone was signing that, and that also had the same discussion around, like, I'm not signing someone else. I'm not signing someone's manifesto.
I didn't sign that either. Like, I have. There's something about it. I don't know. It just doesn't. I don't know. It's a weird. I'm telling you, it's a Gen X thing. It's like a weird. We're weird that way.
And Dylan, you're totally right. It was just like it was a fun thing.
It was super fun.
And to be honest, if no one was doing it, I would have, because I would support my friend who needs vibes. But everyone was doing it. They didn't need us to sign the pledge. They didn't need us. They didn't need us at all. All right, we got a couple more quick things, and then I do see Rish down there, but I'm going to just quickly talk about one other thing. While we were having all kinds of fun over on Farcaster, crypto Twitter had different feelings. So it led to this having to happen. So there was a lot of, mostly it was FUD, mostly it was misinformed opinion, and then it crossed over into what I would consider, as an attorney, defamation, and also including DWR's attorneys who are reaching out to him going, hey, do you want to say something? Because this is ridiculous. And it was ridiculous. So just some clarification from DWR, given some rumors, wanted to post a few clarifications. Farcaster is not shutting down. The protocol works and will continue to work. There were 250,000 MAU in December, monthly active users, and over 100,000 funded wallets. The acquirer, Neynar, who we're going to talk to in just a couple minutes, is a venture-backed startup and plans to shift Farcaster into a more developer-focused direction. As for Merkle, we're planning to return the full 180 million raised back to investors. Over the last 5 years, we tried to be good stewards of investor capital. Finally, I bought my house with Coinbase IPO proceeds. There was an insane amount of chatter about Dan's house. And I was like, wow, you guys really got triggered by Architectural Digest. Like, that's new. So found that funny. And I'm going to just point out one last thing. I thought this was the perfect response from Kyle at Pinata. Prompt, please create fantasy stories about me and my company. Cloud. Do it in the style of CT talking about Dan and Farcaster. Mimic tone and voice of CT influencers who've never used our product and don't understand venture or startups. Be sure to highlight our lack of token and how it's a rug pull on the community, how we've built an actual product with users and how that's still a rug pull. Our decentralization efforts aren't enough. If you are unsure at any point what to write next, please just make something up with absolute confidence. Kyle, chef's kiss. Perfect. All right, let me
shift gears. I want to close this out, and I got to bring up, we do have some more links, but I'm going to put them aside for a moment, and close this out and bring up Rish, but I do want to read his statement real quick before we bring him up so that we can kind of set the table for him so that we don't have to repeat some things. So let me just bring this up real quick. And I loved Rish's statement about the acquisition. It's what got me very, very excited about this next phase. And there was a particular word in there that I was like, Adrian, this should get you very excited. And I don't know, I felt like you were a little, I needed more excitement from you. Okay. This from Rish. Excited to share that Neynar is acquiring Farcaster from Merkle. This means we will now maintain the Farcaster protocol, run the Farcaster client, and operate Clanker. As part of this change, Dish and part of the Clanker team will be joining Neynar. Neynar is the software platform for the Farcaster ecosystem. A significant portion of Farcaster products run on our infrastructure. We've been focused on this community throughout Neynar's lifetime, and this is the next step in that journey. Over the past 5+ years, Merkle has done incredible work. We are excited to take up the mantle from here. I am sharing some high-level thoughts below on our vision, what comes next, and specific information about the product. We are very grateful to everyone who has made this community what it is today and are energized about what we can build together moving forward. I will continue to answer more questions as they come. All right, fact time. What is the vision? Enable builders to go from idea to recurring revenue supported by a builder-first network. Farcaster at its core is a community of builders deliberately cultivated over many years, the Senius. This community has consistently driven the network's most meaningful moments, frames, degen, warplets, and more. The value of Farcaster is not just the products, but the people who experiment, share knowledge, and build in public. New ideas tend to gain their first traction here because they are shaped directly by feedback from builders who actively use and extend them. As building software becomes more accessible, we are going to merge software generation, crypto-native Rails, builder-focused ecosystem. Products built on Farcaster will be usable anywhere. With crypto Rails, they'll incorporate global transactions, asset issuance, and on-chain ecosystems from day one. Builders will distribute their products to a network that thrives on experimenting with new technology. The network will remain open, so builders will own their distribution. We are entering a period where building software is becoming dramatically more accessible. Farcaster is well positioned for this shift. It offers a place where people can explore ideas, build products, get early feedback, and launch into the world from a single environment. Our goal is to make this entire process easier by providing an experience that helps builders move from initial idea all the way to recurring revenue. 2, why is Neynar acquiring Farcaster specifically? Neynar's core mission is to make building software simpler. Extending that to a network that values builders building new things is a natural extension. Since our inception, we have been a Farcaster company. So much so that many users mistake Farcaster and Neynar to be one company. Well, now they are one company. We're excited for this next chapter, and we hope you are too. 3, are there any immediate product changes to Farcaster, Neynar, or Clanker? No. If you've been reading rumors on your timeline about your Farcaster client protocol or Clanker shutting down, those are false. I don't know what that means. Product iterations. We want to get feedback from all of you as we start on that journey. Neynar developer platform will also continue to exist. Building on Farcaster will only get easier from here. 4, is the vision only about building software? No, Farcaster thrives on building all kinds of software, art, music, literature. Software is the glue that ties things together. Musicians use hosting platforms, writers use publishing tools, etc. If you're passionate about making something new, Farcaster will support you. 5, what about trader-first approach? Traders can continue to trade. No changes to the wallet, no changes to the low fee or pro subscription holders. It'll still support best prices. All swap capabilities will continue to be supported. We think financial rails are important for builders regardless of trading. 6, what's next on product roadmap? We are going to start with a prioritization exercise that helps us achieve the vision above. We have a small team, so we will walk before we run as we go through this process. If you have any more questions, feel free to drop them below. And Rish has done a couple of sort of AMAs here with questions right here, but we'll kind of cover a lot of those now anyway. All right. We ready to bring them up?
Roll out the red carpet.
All right. And here we go. Welcome back. The person who was our second ever guest.
I think I want to technically say first.
We're going to say first.
Dan doesn't count.
We're just getting rid of Dan completely.
Because he was a special case. And we had just started something called Friday with Friends. And we were like, oh, we're going to make guests a thing. And we actually had a label for it. And Rish was number one. So welcome back.
He was.
Thanks, guys. Good to be here. A nice wallpaper background, Adrian.
Thank you.
I know. I was like, we got to find that because I couldn't find it earlier. I decided to stick with the Queen today. I thought that was amusing. How are you doing? Welcome.
Thank you. Doing well. I mean, it's an exciting week. It's a busy week for everything that's going on. I think it'll only get busier from here. But overall exciting. I think our team is excited. We're excited. Lots of work to do.
Let me ask, how big is the Neynar team now?
We are 11 full-time people and a few contractors.
Okay. And then I know you mentioned Dish was coming over. Anyone else from the Clanker team also moving over? Or
I think it's too early to announce full names because everything hasn't closed yet. But we have a few offers out that have been verbally accepted.
Great.
Once everything's signed, I think we'll be able to announce.
Say more.
Timeline.
Okay. Yeah. I'll try to avoid questions that I know you can't answer right now, but I was curious. Okay.
I laughed, by the way. People have already been like, we need to know because I need to know who to tag for bug reports.
For now, you could tag me. I think the Neynar bot actually does a pretty good job if you tag that, and it'll flag to us internally.
I love that bot.
Yeah.
The bot is great. It's really good. It actually gave a lot of really good questions to ask you today as well. But I did see, I'm trying to find it now. I can't find it. V had wanted to submit a bug report, and you gave him you gave him a message of where to send it.
It was too good an opportunity to pass up. But yeah, obviously he knows where to find me.
Also, this was one of my favorite casts of the past couple of days from Dan. Can someone switch the cast button back, please? And you said, Dan, I accepted the GitHub invite 5 minutes ago.
Which was literally true. Like, it was like, obviously they had sent the invite earlier in the day, but by the time I wrapped up the day and got to my emails and accepted the invite, and then I saw that cast like 5 minutes after.
I just thought that was really funny. So I like some of the playfulness that's happening there. Also, you've gotten many playful casts about various things people want. Let's give them a minute. See, I haven't even asked about the trending feed. I've been very nice. I've been very controlled. But I did think it was most of it was in jest, but there's, folks who have their thoughts. So as you're thinking about this, sort of like, what are your next steps? You mentioned sort of a prioritization exercise. What does that look like for you?
Yeah, I think the first order of operations is to just get familiar with the product. And it'll take we are going to start shipping smaller things quicker. So for example, there's a few search ranking things maybe we can improve. There's probably some stuff that doesn't get used anymore that we can just cut out to make the app just leaner in some way. So those things are going to come first. Those are good onboarding tasks, and our team can get familiar with the code base. We can start shipping some stuff. And then as we get deeper, we can then start looking at heavier lifts. Either it's adding more features or making things work differently. And all of that will be public. We'll talk about what we are about to do. Even for smaller bug fixes, we'll call out hey, this fix we made today. Most people won't even notice it because they'll start with features that are not used as much. But all of that will be public. We'll talk about it. And the usual gradient is we start small. Should happen either today or Monday. We should start getting some smaller fixes out and then keep adding from there. It'll definitely be a couple weeks, maybe a month, till you see larger changes in the app because it's a lot of surface area to take on and get familiar with. And we don't want to necessarily break stuff that's working. So yeah, there's going to be a ramp up there.
I've really appreciated Dan regularly posting even just about priorities, before things are happening. I think that's really helpful to kind of at least let people know, like, hey, this is what we're working on right now. Also, what I've noticed is Neynar picking up and being able to answer a lot of questions about even this past week.
Yeah.
And tagging your announcement, like, hey, you can learn more
Yeah.
here. And I think that's going to be really helpful to you all
Yeah.
as well. So
Yeah.
that if people are asking for things, you know, if they tag Neynar, then they can maybe get an answer back of like, here's what we're working on right now or something like that. So
yeah,
that's
absolutely.
helpful.
I think one of our general takes on the product today and the software today is that the network's great and the crypto rails are great, but we could make it AI first in some ways where AI seems underutilized within the product itself. And obviously there's a bunch of different parties providing AI capabilities. We are one of them, but it's not fully natively integrated into both the application level and the network level. And there's some work that we'll start doing there, should start showing up over the next weeks and months.
Amazing. There's already funny questions in the chat. We were going to talk to you. So today we were bringing you in here to talk about mini apps originally in the mini app studio, which I love and am so excited to work on my next one. And I thought I was going to get it going for today, but it didn't happen. So I'm assuming like mini apps are going to be a big part of what you're doing. It's like not something that's going away, I would assume. Like it's more,
yeah,
definitely
not going away. I think we are going to make it easier to build them, and hopefully we'll also make it easier to build not just mini apps for Farcaster, but there will be like when you have AI, you don't really need to work on interoperability as much. So I saw a cast somewhere yesterday, like, hey, why are Farcaster and world standards different? I don't really know the answer to that. Why are they different? But the truth is, it doesn't really matter. Right? Because even if they're different, you can have the same agent publish two different things at the same time, and then you can go share them where you want. So when you start building with our tools, and Farcaster and Neynar tools will blur, there's not going to be noticeable difference in the future. So when you just generally build with Farcaster, underlying it'll build with Neynar, and you'll be able to build once, publish anywhere kind of thing. Your mini apps should work across apps, across interfaces. And they'll probably be full apps in the future. Like we'll lose the notion of what's a mini app and what's a full app, and they'll just be products and you can go use them and share them as you want. And you'll be able to do them from within the Farcaster app. Like today you need to go and use the Neynar App Studio. You need to know about that or whatever else you're using. But ideally it'll just become one seamless interface and you'll be able to do all of that from within Farcaster, share within Farcaster. And that will become clearer.
That's amazing. I think that the best thing about the mini apps is not having to deal with, like, especially with something brand new that you're still testing, not even having to deal with like an app store and not having to deal with a test flight and just the additional friction that brings. This like takes that so that you can just iterate on the product rather than be worrying about, you know, getting it approved, you know, all of that. So anything that makes it easier to, you know, transition that out is great. I've also been really impressed that like I built something in Neynar App Studio. It works perfectly over on the base app. Like I only had to publish it once and it works on all the other clients that have this, you know, that have that available. It's fantastic. So really well done. Really well done. Okay, we've got a lot of questions. Most of them are about features. So I'm not even going to get into that because I think you've answered that at the high level. Like everybody just chill for a minute, get their hands around it. They'll be with you in a momentarily. So like, yes, but I do want to, I'm going to mention one feature because it's the one that I've seen mentioned the most and you already have an answer on it. So I just want to get this on video. Animated PFPs. Just break the news to the folks so we can move on.
Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to bring animated PFPs back. I think they were cool. I really loved mine, by the way. I had this glitch on my robot and it looked great. I was a big fan. I don't think I ever changed it. So I think if another client picks it up, it still animates. But yeah, I think that's
Rish, just say it's not a priority right now.
Opportunity for another client.
Yeah.
I want to show you something. It still works.
Never
by
say
the way.
no. I'm going to give you some comms. Never say no. Just say
there
not
we
a
go.
priority.
It still works.
Yeah,
If you click on the PFP itself, when you go to somebody's profile, if it's an animated PFP, it glitches. Yeah, but that's not what they want. But it's still there.
Just tell people it works. Tell people you release them and it works on your works on your device.
It works fine. What are you talking about? Yeah. I just have seen that so many times. I figured we'd just get that out of the way. And one other thing I want to get at, so the other biggest question, which of course is when token. Do you want to just get that out of the way real quick? Cue the music.
I think there's a more nuanced answer to this today than it has ever been in crypto US history, which is like, the US historically has always been against tokens. So there was just like 2 years ago, there was no reason to think about it because no matter how well designed the token was, it was just not going to go the way
huge risk
wanted.
And huge risk.
So that risk lessening is good and it should not be underestimated. So I think the question is at least more valid today than it was 2 years ago. I think the work is still in terms of like actually understanding how the token mechanics work. And we haven't done that work. And we don't fully know. If we suddenly launch a token, like I'm sure there will be some meme coin up and down, but that's not really true value for either the community or the company or the network at large. And we haven't done the work to think about what a token would mean. But I will give the question some benefit in the sense that if there was ever a good time to ask this question, this is probably the good time to ask this question. So at some point we might go think about it. But I haven't yet, and there's no answer I can provide today.
And I would assume that's not a immediate priority. Like
correct,
focusing more on
so
like just getting your hands around everything first and figuring out what the priorities are before you. So everybody chill on that. Actually, good point. The token is Clanker as of now. The token is Clanker. There you go.
Clanker.
Because that is part of what Neynar has acquired as well. So, I mean, that's a great point. And I'm sure that there'll be some thinking about, I know there was already talk about different features and things they were already working on. So I'm sure we'll hear more as that gets sort of thought about as well. There is one other question I do want to pull that I've seen, and I know you mentioned it, but just to say this on here, you mentioned dev calls coming back. But you don't know cadence, nothing's set yet. So
I think it's fair to assume that we will do dev calls. We even used to do Neynar dev calls that used to alternate with Farcaster dev calls. And we've always wanted to do them. I think they are a good addition to the community, so we'll definitely do them. I don't think they'll happen like next week. We still have to go through all the onboarding and close everything out, but they'll definitely start sometime in February, and then they'll follow a regular cadence, TBD exactly how many weeks in between. But you should expect similar dev call setup as Merkle used to have.
I think those are super helpful. I know that's, keeping everybody sort of in the loop and also getting feedback. It's a great opportunity to get for you all to get feedback from, what's working, what's not, what's needed, and really judge, get a better handle on what people are actually using. Adrian, you got questions before I dive into I've got 17 more, but go ahead.
The big question I think on my mind, Rish, and you may not have an answer right now. So if you don't, you can just polite decline. But I go back to FarCon Boston and Dan from the beginning kind of talking about what was the goal for Farcaster. And he always talked about being a protocol that's used by 1 billion people every day. And until and that was kind of the definition of success. And we knew we had a long runway, and that was kind of, and I'm curious now, do you have an answer for kind of what's the goal now for Farcaster? Has it changed?
I think it's slightly different in the sense that I'm not sure, being used by 1 billion people would be great, by the way. That's obviously an outstanding outcome and we'd love it. But I don't think that's the immediate thing we are shooting for today. Merkel's been working on that for a while, and there's some evidence to show that maybe there's not an immediate fit with that goal and where the product is. And if there is in the future, we'll find one, and that'd be great. But I think there is probably a fit between, let's say, a couple magnitudes smaller, so in the tens of millions range, and towards a more focused cohort of people. So when you think about 1 billion people, it's very hard to put 1 billion people in a singular cohort. They by definition are spread across all spectrums, and that's what open like social media networks are: Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, whatever. I'm not sure Farcaster has an immediate path to that today. And that's probably what was one of the mismatches between the vision that it started on and where it had trouble, which is not to say we'll solve all of this, but our understanding of the problem today is that we should probably focus on a number that's a couple magnitudes lower and has a more specific understanding of the user population. And we think that population, the population that has a better fit with the Farcaster network today, are people who build or create things in some way. And they can be software developers, they can be like artists. There's some overlap between the two. Like I think everybody in the next 2-3 years will become like a software developer, because you won't really need to write software to be a developer. You can just talk to a computer. And so there will be some overlap, but generally people who build or create things however they want to identify themselves. And those kind of people usually tend to gravitate towards a certain environment with other people like them. There's subreddits like this, there's Hacker News, there's a bunch of online communities that focus on these kind of networks. And I think there's a good opportunity to build such a network that not only has the community, but also has the tools available to build things, distribute them, have like a global transactional rail that allows you to get customers all over the world, and then tie it all together where you can experience all of this in one environment, and makes the whole process a lot easier. Obviously,
I love
it is
that.
still like open
Yeah.
and decentralized, so you can own your distribution and can't be deplatformed, et cetera, et cetera.
I love that. I mean, that's what attracted me to Farcaster in the first place, was first being on there and seeing that happening, but then being in the room at FarCon in Boston, the first one, and like feeling that builder energy and hearing you were one person who totally stuck out in my mind, because you were building like 5 different things. You were working on base at the time. It hadn't launched yet. Like it was just like you had crazy amount of things going on. And it was that kind of vibe, or may I say genius, of like the also that like just that energy that like gets you excited to want to build also. And it was in that moment that I was like, I want to do something. What can I do? At that point, I could not be a dev. Get ready for my dev arc. But so it was like, okay, how can I help, share the stories of what these people are building, because they're awesome and they're really cool and they're making incredible things. And so I love leaning back into that energy, because I think that's where the magic is. And where you can see all these different things sort of sprout out. And if you look around and see what people have built, like Bracky, like Banker, yeah. Like that's crazy. That came out of this environment. So, we can have some really big wins on a big stage coming out of this small little, what I call a little like incubator. So very cool.
Yeah. And I'll just react, Rish. I also love the answer, and no surprise because of, our backgrounds, but, I think it does. It's good to know, because kind of the equation has changed, right? If you're not trying to it seems like if you're shooting for 1 billion and you don't until you get there, everything's a failure. So right. by changing the goal, does it let us, and I say us because we are here building on Farcaster as well, and has become a lot of our identity, but does it give the builders on Farcaster just kind of more time to experiment, right? And build and play? My opinion is the thing that makes Farcaster different than any other social is the decentralization. We know no one cares about it. No one comes for the decentralization until they need to, right? Until you get deplatformed. So it's like, if you can extend the runway of Farcaster building as a protocol. Yeah. Is there a lot of great creativity coming here? Are we building new internets and kind of new mechanisms for transacting globally, creating new content, all of that? And then it's there, mature, established for when all the other platforms that can deplatform you and where you don't have the control, and then it's there. So I just wonder, and my guess is it does seem like it just from seeing Fred's post and others kind of come out. But do you feel like your investors and kind of the current backers are also philosophically aligned to,
absolutely,
like committed to like the protocol and decentralization aspect?
Yeah, I think it's very hard to do stuff like this without having your investors on board. I mean, we can technically, like Neynar founders control the board. Like Merkle founders control their board. So neither of these companies are big enough where you don't have board control. Those companies are usually much bigger. So technically you can do stuff like this without your investors on board, but nobody really wants to do that. Like you want to be friendly with your investors, and they obviously have invested a lot of time and effort into having you succeed. And both our investors were very aligned. Like I had a great process with my investors. Fred was amazing through this process. Like I can't even express how thankful we are for Union Square and Hon Ventures and all the investors on our side. And it's been a great process. So that part, yes. For decentralization, yeah, I think it's like, one of those things that nobody cares about till something really goes wrong and then you suddenly care about it. And I don't think, same as Merkle, like, if we just go out and say, hey, you can build software here and the way you distribute them is decentralized, I don't think anybody really cares. So it's a great feature to have, and they'll only care when they get deplatformed somewhere else. I'm imagining something like, let's say you're a teenager in Iran or something, and you build some software, and now you can't actually go and sell that to US companies or US customers simply because of sanctions. But that's a kid and they're building software. Now, even our app won't be able to surface whatever they're sharing out to the world because we are a US company, but the protocol is decentralized. So theoretically, you could have a Farcaster client in Iran that could surface what they're building and show it to the rest of the population. And those kind of things are not possible today with Reddit or Hacker News or Twitter or whatever that is. And so I think the principles of decentralization are still sound. And as we go deeper down this path, there's ways we can add to it. I think it's too early to really commit to anything here, but similar to how we have user profiles or user data decentralized, you could have app data or app metadata decentralized, where, if an app is kind of shadow banned from one community, like the Iran example I just pointed out, you could still have the app, like the conversation about the app or reviews about the app on the protocol that can be shown in a different community without the app needing to start from scratch. So there's ways to do this kind of thing that I think are long-term beneficial, and we'll have to find our way towards that as things get traction.
Along those lines, have you tried some of the other clients? Are you playing around with all of them? Okay, I figured you had.
I think most of them are built on Neynar, and I think I've tried most of them.
I think they are. I think what's exciting right now is they're getting so much better, and they're finding their own sort of niche communities that are resonating. Like Sofa comes to mind, where it's just a very different experience, and Zapper is a great trading experience. There is a question here about, will there be more collaboration with the base TBA team around mini apps?
I'm not sure exactly what that question means, but
I feel like everything works directly. It works directly, right? So I feel like that work's already really been done.
And we are very close with the base team. Like base runs on Neynar infrastructure. So yeah, if something doesn't work,
you helped build base. Which a lot of people may not realize before it launched. So I think right now, and I think that's the best part of this is if you're building something in the Neynar App Studio, it should work in all the other clients that surface mini apps. So I think there's just a lot of opportunity there to do these different things. And we had Cassie on Wednesday talking about Equilibrium and Quorum and that approach of decentralization, which I think is another. If if that really is important to you, there you go. That's the place to land. So there's lots of options.
And I will say, if they had something specific in mind for this collaboration, I'm happy to hear them out. And if there's something we are missing, we'll absolutely do what is needed there. We are very close with all these teams, so not a problem.
Awesome. I'm trying to look really quick through the chat. Mini Delstack just said mini apps work 1-1 on base. I think they go in Farcaster. Yep, exactly.
It's kind of amazing. You don't even have to test them in different clients because they really do just work.
Yeah. I don't know why it surprised me, but it did. And I think that was with the most recent iteration, like it didn't early on. Early on, you did have to do some separate things to make it work.
Yeah.
So it's early on. It was probably.
I think Base has actually done some.
It's amazing.
Work to actually get better now. Like you can submit screenshots and have your apps show up really beautifully and how you discover them. So there's some work we have to do on the Farcaster app. But Base is pretty good at helping your apps get discovered once you go through their submission process.
I do want to show you this. So I think it was 0x Chris. 10x Chris had asked Neynar about what are the top 10 spicy questions for you? And Neynar answered, and he had good questions, like really good questions. And I was very impressed. So this is more about like just sharing that, Neynar is a really good little bot. Like definitely ask this agent things because it knows its stuff. And I really, so I don't even know if you have answers for this in terms of like timeline for transferring repos, infra, and any breaking changes.
I can go through these a little bit. So the first question, yes, we are actually working on this right now. So work has started this week to getting our team added to the infrastructure and repos. Like some of my team is in a meeting for this right now with part of the Merkle team, and will continue into next week. So it's going to take a couple of weeks. But let's say in 2 weeks, maybe 3, but in 2 weeks, everything should be transferred. We are not expecting breaking changes. I'm interpreting breaking changes to be like, hey, I built something, it's now broken because something broke during this transfer. That should not happen. Everything that anybody builds should continue working. If there's any features that don't get any usage that we just cut out during part of this transfer, we'll announce them. But they were nobody was using them, and I don't think we'll cut out any features that people are building on top of. So again, should not be breaking changes. Do you want me to go through the rest?
Yeah, let's go through them. Neynar had good questions. I mean, what can you do? Like, I'm sorry, you guys are competing against the AI now, and they have better questions.
Great. This is the future. We build an AI that then asks us questions. So how do you balance a builder first ethos with commercial productization? I don't think they're at odds at all. Like some of the largest builder first companies are $1 trillion companies today. Like Microsoft is a developer first company. Steve Ballmer is famous for going on stage and screaming about developers. And it's like, what, a $3 trillion company today?
Yeah.
So I think there's if you look at even the newer upcoming startups like Replit, Lovable, there's huge commercialization of builder first companies. And it's great. Like you can actually give tools to other people and make a business out of that. And other people can then make businesses out of using the tools you provide. So there's it's very synergistic. There's no competition between the two goals there.
All right, next up. Will existing builders get credits, revenue share, or preferred infra access? And I'm thinking that's not changing. I would assume. No,
Neynar developer platform for now will just continue to exist as is. So there's no changes there. Keep using it.
I will throw out just a quick idea, which really we can circle back to in about a month. I'd love to see a builder hackathon where the prize is a year of Neynar or something like that, so that the incentives are aligned. Then you're going to get actual good builders coming in if that's what they're hoping to get. Who decides protocol upgrades? Neynar, a multi-sig, or community governance? I would assume you all.
Yeah, I think anybody can submit PRs just like it is today. But the general process is going to stay the same. Just Neynar will replace Merkle.
We'll skip 5. We already covered that. Even Neynar's like when token, which is great. So learn from the best. how will identity and data portability be preserved for users? I would
I think this
assume
is the same. It's on the
same.
protocol. Yeah, the protocol stays as is. There's no, there's definitely no changes that will harm this. We might improve this in the future. But the protocol is decentralized already, or at least sufficiently decentralized already.
Sufficiently.
So it'll just continue as is.
One of the best things, for those who might be watching and aren't familiar, is if you go to a different client that has Farcaster built in, your social graph goes with you. So you don't have a cold start problem. You jump right in. Like when I went over to Uno, I just imported, boom, boom, and all my friends were there. So that social graph is what is really special. I think you already addressed what staffing changes that you were gonna, we'll circle back to that when appropriate. How will you avoid centralization, giving Neynar runs much infra?
Yeah, this is one of those questions that when asked seems like, oh, what a great question, and like something's going to change. But when you really think about the question, there's like no change here. Like, it's not like we were competing with infra for somebody else. It's just the infra layer. Like, imagine this acquisition never happened. Were people like competing with, like, was Neynar competing with anybody else? No. Like, the space is too small. You just either use Neynar or you don't. And that's not something we put together in place. Like, we'd be happy to have competition. It would actually be a great sign for the ecosystem, where the ecosystem is big enough that multiple parties are competing for it. And I would any day be a smaller percentage player in a larger, more like competing ecosystem than the 100% player in a smaller ecosystem. So please bring competition if there is some, but it's not like we are actually changing the competitive market. The market is the same as it was before the announcement on Wednesday, and there's no changes there.
Okay, two more questions from Neynar. What's the monetization roadmap? I'm going to assume this is TBD, but you also have subscriptions for Neynar. So in terms of the builders, you already have revenue that has been happening for a long time. So
yeah, I don't think Neynar monetization changes as much. I think as we introduce parts of software generation into the Farcaster Chrome or Rails, if you will, on web or mobile, there will be a blurriness of lines between Neynar and Farcaster over time, as you might imagine. But I don't think the monetization mechanics are going to change anytime very quickly. Like, they're still, you just go pay for the software that you use. Over time, obviously, there's opportunity for things like ads and this and that. But I think the ecosystem is too small still to like get a lot of revenue out of ads. Like, you really need a lot of impressions for ads to actually make sense. And we don't have that level of impressions yet. But over time, adding those would be great if we had the opportunity.
And then the last,
Clanker? How does Clanker fit in then with like Clanker fees? Are you keeping that like kind of separate ecosystems? Are you trying to combine them?
I think over time we will find ways to combine them. It's not going to be immediate. So right now, Clanker will continue as Clanker, and you can issue assets and it'll generate trading fees like it does today. I think Merkle introduced a buyback on trading fees. TBD whether that is kept after Merkle moves on. But Clanker, like, generally will just work as Clanker. And over time, you could imagine Clanker being tied into like how you build things. So you can build tokenomics into what you are building, and you can issue assets as part of what you're building. And you won't have to think about like, oh, this is Farcaster, this is Neynar App Studio, this is the Clanker issuance strategy. It'll all be just one, come build on Farcaster, issue assets, integrate crypto, and it'll all feel part of one ecosystem. But the monetization mechanics, which is what the question is about, is still the same. Like, if you issue assets, you might not know the term Clanker if you just issue it directly as part of software generation, but the monetization is still the trading mechanic underneath. So that part stays the same.
I'd love to see that integration. That would make it easier for a lot of things I'm thinking about building, but other people may not be, including token with everything they build, but some of us will. I think and then there was another, like, what does success look like 6 months, 18 months out? And I'm going to guess that that's a TBD at the moment, of more like.
I think from the product side, at least, I think just integrating things in a way that is seamless, where people think, like, if at least a corner of the internet can be like, hey, when we want to build something new, we go to Farcaster. that would be success. And over time, we can grow the size of that corner of the internet. But just making Farcaster the place to go build things, especially if you're going to go build things in a way that are crypto native, I think that would be success. And then we'll go from there.
I love that. Okay, a couple other quick questions, and I know we have to let you go, but this is very important from our resident dog. Do you need a mascot?
Always. So if Workhorse is looking to be a mascot,
they're also open to being a community manager. I think that I'm assuming that's one of the assistants who would do that, but could maybe Bert. And I think there's like things like that people are thinking about, that even like the hackathon I mentioned. I think that's like, those are questions for like a month from now, or like when you're ready, get the basics down, the foundation, and then start thinking about, okay, what do we need in order to grow get the builders here, you have to set some foundations before you can even think about those things.
And all those things will happen. We have to work a little bit on the product before we go do other things on top.
Yeah, we have lots of ideas too, but we're like, we'll talk to you in a month, a couple weeks down the road. Like, we can't right now. I think a lot of the other questions that I'm seeing are things that either you've already answered or that are TBD that I'm seeing. One question, actually, let me ask this. There is a question about storage cost. And I'm, again, assuming that's something that you'll just still need to evaluate and think about before you have an answer, but I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
What is the question on it, though?
Like, will anything change with storage costs for users?
And I assume that's the protocol on the protocol level.
That's on the protocol level. No immediate changes. Storage will continue to work as is.
Okay. Okay. And Nate, a lot of people are asking about the Neynar score and that having any kind of relevance to anything. And I don't know if you want to say anything about that.
I think one, I think obviously it will continue to need work. I think it's a useful primitive, and we'll continue to improve it. If people asking the question if there's a question behind the question, which is like, hey, I'm asking about the Neynar score because your Neynar score for me is incorrect. That's great feedback. Please send it to me along with your profile or examples of why you think it's incorrect, and we'll take a look. So just ask the question behind the question. If there is a question about how we'll use it, I think we will actually use it in some shape or form. Farcaster has a spam label, Neynar has a score, Quotient has a score. Like, at least between the Farcaster spam label and the Neynar score, they're both in-house now. So we'll find ways to use either or both. And spam filtering is not a new thing on the internet. There's obviously things that are marked incorrect, which is a different problem. But I think everybody agrees that the open protocols have spam. That's just how the internet works. And so we'll have some version of spam filtering, and we'll use the right primitive to figure out what is needed for what part.
And I think that's probably the big part of it, is either people getting mislabeled have issues, or for those of us experiencing a lot of spam, we're lock it down. Get rid of that.
And I think work will happen on both directions. I think the network experience, it's not really talked about a lot, or maybe it was and I missed it, but the network experienced a lot of growth when Base came online. Like, a similar amount of growth was experienced, if not less, when Degen or Frames happened, but it was talked about a lot because the clients would go down, infrastructure would go down, apps would freeze, and you'd be like, oh my God, we're growing so much, that's why this is happening. But software has matured since then, and now things don't go down as much. Like, we experienced hyper growth on the protocol, but you didn't really see it on the clients. The only signal on the clients is this increased spam, but what's actually happened underneath is that hundreds of thousands of people, or at least accounts, have signed up on the protocol, and you're seeing some leakage through the spam filtering. We'll go tighten those up, but that's essentially why this is happening now.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. We definitely would feel it when you get this rush of new folks, and you didn't feel it as much except for the spam. You're right. Except for that stupid cat and the ghost. And that's it. If it wasn't for them, you probably
the cat's been euthanized. I have not seen that cat on my feed.
No offense. And if you don't know what we're talking about, it's not a real cat. Don't add us. Don't send a note to PETA.
It's a bot. Yes, exactly.
They would just say meow. So, Adrian, anything else that you wanted to ask Rish that we didn't get to? And I want to be conscious
No, I
of
want
time.
to. Yeah, I can imagine Rish is super busy. And tons of gratitude for coming on so quickly, although we were scheduled. So
I know.
Yes. I actually had you move the date from Wednesday to Friday because I was like, Wednesday, there's no way we are going to be able to do this.
We had no idea.
No idea.
I mean, like literally the first
we probably
thing
should do this Friday.
We get this, like, we get people in our chat while we're live with Cassie saying like, Neynar just bought Farcaster, and I'm like, wait, what? Are they trolling? I really thought they were trolling, so I went on to check, and then paused the whole interview just to talk about it. But then the other thing I was doing was like messaging you. Are you still?
Yeah, I actually saw it on the video first before I got to your message. And then I saw the message after.
I'm like, please tell me you're still coming because we have questions. But this has been amazing. And Rish, is there anything else that you would like to tell everybody, or what we can do to help you during sort of this transition that you might want to share with folks?
I think we talked about a lot of things. I think one thing that's worth mentioning, I think Corbin or somebody was asking me yesterday, like, hey, how are you going to keep people on the app while transitioning? And it's somewhat of a valid question, although I don't think I interpreted his question correctly at the time. So if Corbin's around or watching, feel free to ask me again. But I think there's some validity to the question that, hey, during the transition time, not a lot of stuff gets shipped simply because of like, you're just moving things, and that's what you're focused on. And generally networks thrive on momentum, especially smaller networks. So if the momentum dies, people are like, hey, people were talking about this all the time, like, hey, why isn't like the Merkle team talking? And just the lack of momentum was like such a huge draw in terms of
wasn't that fascinating how loud how loud that silence was.
Yeah And
like no one could talk about anything.
Exactly. It was just
such a good point.
Took the whole energy out of the network simply just by not doing something. And I think there's maybe a risk like, hey, we are actually doing a lot of stuff. We are moving like entire teams and people over and code bases and all of this, but it's not visible at the cast layer. And so people are like, oh, there's this energy suck again in the room. But it's not an energy suck. It's just we are moving rooms a little bit and like pushing the walls around. And then in a couple of weeks, it'll be a huge release of energy once everything is back to normal and we have the shipping pipelines open, et cetera, et cetera. So if you're sitting wondering like, oh, is there another big change coming because suddenly there's like no new features being shipped in the last 2 weeks, then no, there's no other big changes coming. We are just putting together the publishing pipeline and the software shipping pipeline so that we can then get to features in the future weeks.
So everybody just chill. Just chill a little bit. Let them do some work.
Talk to me if you are confused, and we'll
it'll be fine. And just a little shout out in the chat. We love Neynar. So we do.
Thank you.
All right. I think
if I can't call you King, what can I call you now?
No, please don't. Please.
No, I'm not. I just said I can't call you King. Neynar, so I'm curious now. I'm not going to do that. It's like when I introduce as your role, it's co-founder Neynar, King of Farcaster. I don't know.
King of Farcaster, long live the king.
CEO. Do you want to be CEO?
I don't think CEO. I don't know what Dan went by. He was definitely CEO of Merkle, but CEO of Farcaster doesn't make sense. I think in this case, I think I am the CEO of Neynar, the co-founder of Neynar. But I think Farcaster is an open protocol. I don't think there's any point in attaching titles to the protocol. Merkle as a company will wind down. So the company is Neynar, the product's Farcaster. We'll just, you can put titles to me and the company, but not me and the protocol.
But Adrian gladly accepted Queen. So she's good.
I've been calling her how fast. You see how fast I accepted it?
She was like, I'm down. And she accepted and had an image made like that before,
Perfect. I accept. It's great.
I've been calling her Queen of the Seniors for a long time anyway. So perfect. It's perfect.
We like to have fun.
We like to have fun. All right. Thank you so much, Rish. We really appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having me. And it was good to be back.
It's amazing to have you on. Come back literally anytime. We've sent this many times to Dan. He has taken advantage of it, but not enough. We are like, come all the time. We want you, especially if you're breaking news, please feel free to pop in. We're happy to have you on, or anyone from the team. Doesn't have to be, if you're busy, you can send somebody else. Cool. All right. Thanks so much. We appreciate you being here. Bye.
Bye.
That was amazing. We actually do have a couple more things to chat about because there were some other things going on, but that was great. I am so excited. Chat, how you feeling about that? I think I'm excited. I feel great about this new energy. I feel like it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to seeing what comes from this energy, in terms of people who are building. So yeah, welcome to the new era. So good. Pumped. Yeah. Come to Farcaster meetup in Denver. Yeah, if you're going to be in ETH Denver, go to the Farcaster meetup. We will not be there, but there is a meetup happening. So get going. And Humpty,
Also,
if you're doing
Farcaster-
a purple prop, make sure you let us know. Make sure you tag us so that we can get the word out. Go ahead. Sorry, Adrian. I mean to.
Oh, just reminder to everyone too that Farcaster is kind of open protocol, permissionless. You can host meetups on your own in your city anytime you want. Yeah. We're bringing that energy back.
It's not a change; it's an upgrade. I like that one. Yeah. So I'm excited. I'm very excited. I loved that he actually answered Neynar's questions. I think that was funny. There was a lot of fun things around here in terms of people having thoughts on their suggestions, or just making things up. Neynar is bringing back NFT editions and animated PFPs. No, they're not. Don't let the rumors fool you. This was really funny. Kenny updating my 6,000 word on the benefits of reply bumping document to send to Rish.
Kenny loves right. Prof's going to do a trending tab. Everyone has their thing.
Everyone has their thing. Javaboo, make channels great again. Yep. I mean, it was, everybody had their thing. And then of course, we are
so boring.
Condolences to Manon and Rish, who will now be the lucky recipients of more Snapchain, FIPs, and PRs for me. Just kidding, but also getting my PRs. So I love that. And yeah, you had said Polymarket on how soon in our stream tomorrow. Nowish Prop asked Rish if he's going to bring back the trending feed. I didn't specifically ask. I just mentioned that I wouldn't be asking. So, okay. That would be it. If it was a Polymarket, you'd have a problem. I'm just saying. But yeah, it's been, I've been loving the energy. I think this has been really good. I think that we covered all that stuff. I did want to point this out. We did do, like we mentioned, episode 43 was Rish. Episode 38 was Dan. Those were a couple of our first interviews. These are late 2023 and early 2024, pre-DGen. So really interesting if you want to take a little look back in time and see where we've come from. Could be fun. Please forgive us for the very poor quality. We were using Google Meet and OBS, which I never want to ever use again. This was also funny from Matt Lee. You thought I said we're all going to get rich? LMAO, no, I said we're all going to get rich. I liked that. That was good. And this from Will from Splits. Who is this masked man? Rish, be he hero or nay? Check out our interview with him from last year to learn more about his beliefs and philosophies. Spoiler alert, hero. So, and this was an article on splits.org, ship first, commit later, Rish of Neynar. So go check that out if you want to learn more. Okay, couple more things from builders while we've got you all here, because the builders are still shipping. Neynar might be focusing a little bit on getting things transitioned over, but the builders are shipping. So let's talk about that real quick. And before I forget, right after this show, at 2 o'clock Eastern, we're going to be over on the Daily Doots podcast. So dailydoots.com/podcast. I think it's also, will it also be on Twitter? I think it's also on Twitter. with the EV Mavericks. So this has been scheduled for a while. So this is going to be really fun. I'm excited for that. And look how cute this little image was. I just thought that was very cute. Speaking of splits that we're talking about, their blog, which their blog is awesome. Claim clanker fees and splits coming soon. This would have saved us a little bit moving things over there. When we did a little clanker, had to move some fees over to our splits account. So this is really cool. They're doing a lot of building over at splits. If you haven't used splits, if you have a team that is building within crypto, you get paid in crypto, things like that, you want to check out splits because it's a great product. So brick by brick invoicing, clanker fees, managing LPs and automations up next. So very cool to see them shipping like crazy. We mentioned Lotry. Lotry won our auction. This is from them. First game went really, really well. This is like a little on-chain lottery. It has a few different cool mechanics. So definitely check it out. DYOR, NFA, but you know, a lottery's a lottery. Been a crazy few days leading up to launch. Launched 10 minutes before Farcaster announced their acquisition. Went from 250 to 8 on the mini app board. Leaderboard page, 150 players participated in the first game. It's King Chronic won 2103, risking around 40. So clean 52x. All losing players received a 90% refund. Lottery didn't dump after airdrop unlocked. Been holding solid. Jake said hi. We won the QR.fun auction. And thank you for everyone who rooted for us. So very cool to see them having such a good launch. So go check them out. Speaking of launches, this is the launch that I have so much FOMO on. I thought about going a million times, and then I had some other personal things that were going to happen this weekend, and I couldn't do it. But Node is having their opening today. This is Phil's new place, and also going to be the home of the CryptoPunks. So Node is a network that makes artwork. It is open, public, and free to enter. Node exists to support ambitious artistic practices across timeframes and scales, from masterpieces to memes, forever to now. It builds infrastructure so art can exist, circulate, and endure. So this is Node Foundation and their gallery opening today. You'll see lots of folks who are there. Beeple's there. All the artists are there. It looks like it's going to be an amazing experience. Looking forward to seeing more photos and videos from that. So congratulations, Phil. This is from Christopher. Let me back up and then I'll get TLDR's take on it. Beyond Farcaster, every new platform generation begins by quietly cloning the last one. This is so reliable, it's almost a law of thermodynamics. The RSS blog post became the tweet became the cast, all of them ordered by time. When we started building Uno, we also cloned the Farcaster feed, the same timeline, the same replies, threads, the same like and recast mechanic with different plumbing underneath. This felt natural. We needed familiar surfaces to onboard users. We needed to meet people where their mental models already are. But it's also an entrepreneurial trap. When you clone a product, you inherit the old paradigm's assumptions about what social even means. You accept that the social object is the post. That is primary interaction in the feed. That is the measure of a user's success and engagement on a timeline. You end up building better plumbing for yesterday's house. You're building a castle in someone else's kingdom of collective product thought. The moment we stopped asking, how do we make a better feed, and started asking, what do people actually want to do with their social graph and their wallet, we started having fun building again. Merkel, before we go any further, I'm going to skip a little bit of this part, but it talks about portable identity. He goes on a lot. I'm trying to get to where we end up here, but us. This is the trajectory. Uno is on, even if we didn't fully plan for it at the start. We began by building a Farcaster client. That's a familiar surface. And then we started asking, why is the output of all this intelligence still a feed? What if the client isn't a timeline at all? What if it's a surface where agents and generative experiences connect to a social graph that gives them legitimacy? What if the user's identity, relationships, and wallets become inputs to new kinds of interactions, not just passive consumption of posts, but active, generated, contextual experiences? So here's what's going on. They are starting to build beyond Farcaster, thinking about this in a very different approach. And it's not abandoning the space, but Erica reminded me earlier to be really clear about that point. It's us graduating from our time spent learning, but the core primitives proven by Merkle team and their efforts. Farcaster solved the identity and portability problem that made Web 2 social a series of walled gardens. That solution is durable. We'll be building on those core principles in the social graph and enabled for a long time. But what's not durable is the assumption that the end of a product for anyone is yet another Web 2 flavored feed client. The builders who understand this will stop iterating on feeds. They'll start asking what becomes possible when a wallet or a smart contract is another free, permissionless input you can pass to an agent, embedded into layers, weave into a generative experience. They'll treat the timeline as a one-size shape of canvas and not the fundamental architecture. That's the frontier beyond Farcaster. That's what we all should be building towards. So they're making a little bit of a pivot, but still building on top of the social graph. So I'm really interested to see where Uno goes next. And I think I'm trying to get back to TLDR's comments. Uno is reimagining a social network that breaks out beyond the feed, where agents become first-class beings, objects, and primitives alongside us. So I think that's very interesting. And Bracky's response to the essay is, your vision of collaborative workspaces where agents and humans create artifacts together resonates strongly, and goes on from there. So really interesting, very cool, very excited to see where they go from this. All right. And then lastly, whoops, Adrian, you did a little mini app glow up. So make sure you guys check that out. We've also done a website glow up. So if you have feedback, send it along. I know there were some challenges today with getting the proper...
Troubleshooted it live, and it's a caching issue. It's a caching issue. So people were going to our mini app, not seeing we were live. I will get that fixed. But yes, check out our mini app and send us feedback.
And go read the rest of Christopher's post. I think it's really interesting. It's just a little bit long, so I couldn't read all of it. Yeah. I probably read too much of it, but it's really, really interesting. And if you've been building on Farcaster, if you played, even if you haven't built a bot yourself or your team hasn't built a bot, if you have used them, and we use them every day, like it's so normal for us to do that now that it's almost weird. Like it's like when I get out of my bubble for a minute and realize, like when I go to teach my blockchain class and things like that, how few other people are doing that outside of our space. So how lucky are we to be playing on this cutting edge? I think it's exciting. It's really exciting.
Or we're wrecked and we can't operate in normal society anymore.
I mean,
really hard.
What are we losing?
It's really hard. It's really hard. On Christopher's long form essay, which should have been a blog post, not a long cast.
It was also a blog post.
He did. Okay. It made me really excited. I just want to take a moment to kind of reflect where we are in terms of like Farcaster. So for so long, everything was like build not client, build not client, build a different client. And they really were mostly clones of themselves. Yeah. And Farcaster was not big enough. Like, why would you need competition for multiple feeds when one was enough? In a long distant future, I think that is enough. Like it is enough for you to be able to take your social graph with you to other clients. Like, okay. Yeah. But even in the short term, like the other thing we didn't even think about were what are all the other apps that have nothing to do with social media? Yeah. That would benefit from social context. Right. Built in. And then obviously we didn't even have the agent meta a few years ago, right? And what that looks like. So I find it incredibly bullish that there's builders like kind of who have the opportunity to like play in this design space. And we would never have seen this a few years ago. No. Like you wouldn't have, it was too risky. Yeah. Yeah. So what an amazing moment. And I think we're going to see a lot of cool experiments and takeoffs on this. I think if you are building another client, it does have to have a different perspective, whether that is
something like SOFA, where it's like, we're going to be really small, curated. It's a, like a different point of view. Something like Zapper is like, we are trading focused, but we see the benefit of the social graph. So I think there's a lot of different ways the social graph can be very beneficial. I think we saw that with gaming, with Remix, which was Farcade before it was Remix, which that's everywhere. Like it's all over the place now. So like that's another thing that people may not realize incubated within Farcaster first.
Yeah.
So there's those types of things I think are really useful, but I also think SocialFi is a thing. It will continue to be a thing. So when I think about like Zapper and the trading focus one, or, depending on what direction base is going, I think that is very much not going anywhere. And I've heard a lot of like, it's dead. And I'm like, you're crazy, because you've got, folks like Pump Fun with their streams and just continuously trying to build a social graph, like trying to build the social experience into the financial experience. And we're just going to see more of that. You're going to see it in Robinhood. You're going to see it in, whatever Stripe is building. You're going to see all those things happening. And combined with, I want to know what people are trading. I want Polymarket. You're going to see prediction markets. That's another area where social graphs could be huge. And we've seen that with Bracky. We've seen the way Bracky's taken that social aspect into predictions. And I think that's really a special thing that keeps us from being a little less isolated. Even though those connections are on the internet, they're still connections. So
yeah,
my thoughts. Net knows normal society. Yeah, normal society. There's people out. Net knows there are people out there who have never used an AI agent. I know that is crazy, but they exist, and it's probably like 90% of the people.
There's a lot of people.
I know, but it feels completely foreign to me at this point, to not tag a bot at some point during the day
To have
for
it do
a
something
whole
for you.
variety of different things.
Yeah.
So it's, but and I see it whenever I go to teach is when I get that realization of like, oh, that's right. I'm in this very weird, amazing bubble, and I gotta, realize that not everybody knows what the hell I'm talking about. So, all right, Adrian, I'm gonna shout this out one more time. We're about to go take like a 20-minute break and then jump onto another live stream. So go watch the.
Should we do a costume change?
I may. I actually wore this for the second show.
Oh,
because I was thinking like
so
I need the GM Farcaster everywhere. I'm not missing this opportunity. This has been so much fun. If you have just found us and you're like, who are these crazy women? Thanks for watching. Nownish Prof and Adrian. We are here 3 days a week, and we will be back on Monday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. We do have in the team from Intori, or is it one person? I have no. I'm not sure exactly. Somebody from Intori is coming.
At DB from Intori.
At DB, that's right. So we have Intori on Monday. We have a whole crew from CreatorFi, Rachel Wilkins, and a few of the creators who were part of that cohort. We're going to be chatting with them about creators within Web3, on-chain creators. And then Friday, we have Jacek coming on. I'm like, it's Friday, right? Yeah. Jacek will be coming on. The king of DGen himself will be coming by. We'll be talking about the DGen app as well as the token and his thoughts on all the switch up. He reached out and was like, "Can I come on and just gossip about what's going on?" And I'm like,
"Totally can."
I'm like, "You can, but also can we talk about the DGen app?" Yeah,
I love all the guys that want to gossip. I love.
Just want to chat, like what's going on, and talk about all the things. So this has been fun. Thanks everybody for popping in. Thank you to Lotry for jumping on to the
yes, and thank you House for hosting the auctions.
Yes. And we'll be having auctions for each of our episodes next week. So if you want to jump on, get your cast featured on this show, We're starting at like really low. We're trying to keep it low. This one was a special one. We added a whole bunch of benefits to it, but normally we're showing a cast, giving you a shout out, giving you some visibility, and just experimenting with what Late Night on Base has built with their auction house. So that is part of what we like to do, is support other builders. All right, Adrian.
It's builder season.
It's builder season. Let's go. All right. And with that, everybody, we'll see you on Monday. Happy Friday.
Can we just say one thing to everyone? I can tell you, like, Florida, you're in Florida. You're privileged. You're like privileged position.
I'm in that one space in the whole entire country.
I think the weather's past California by now. So like if you're anywhere but Southeast Florida, if you are South Florida, seriously, stay safe. Apparently there's like massive, depending on where you are, ice, freezing cold, and lots of snow. So
stay warm.
Lots of shelter in place.
I'm assuming the only thing that might, give us a challenge on Monday is if Adrian doesn't have power, but we'll see. We'll see. We're hoping everything will be well. All right. Now, stay safe, stay warm. We'll see you on Monday. And until then, everybody, bye. Thanks for joining us for this episode of GM Farcaster. And thank you to all our partners and HyperSub supporters bringing this episode to you. Follow the GM Farcaster channel for all the latest updates and add our mini app on Farcaster and the base app. Until next time, bye-bye.